Hey guys, this is God of Politics. Welcome to a brand new video, but before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But in today's video, I do want to do another analysis of a different race. The last time I analyzed a Senate race for the 2022 midterms was the Pennsylvania Senate race, and in this video, I'll be analyzing the New Hampshire Senate race. Now, you could argue that along with the Pennsylvania Senate race, this is one of the most important Senate races, if not the most important, and could really decide who actually controls the Senate after the midterms. Currently, the Senate is deadlocked at 50-50, but Democrats do have a majority because Kamala Harris is the vice president and can break ties and is expected to break ties on things like cabinet positions, judges, the COVID relief bill. But could Democrats expand their majority in the Senate? That's what Republicans did in 2018, despite the fact that it was a blue wave. That's what Democrats did in 2012. So it's not unheard of to gain seats, even in a year that isn't too great for you overall. And sure, 2012 was a decent year for Democrats. They gained seats in the House, gained seats in the Senate, won the presidency. But, the Democrats do still have an opportunity to gain seats in the Senate, and that runs straight through the state of New Hampshire. If they don't win the state of New Hampshire, they're not going to gain in the Senate, and they probably, are not favored to win the overall Senate at that point because it is one of the most important seats, and I'll talk about the different scenarios for how that could affect the total makeup of the Senate. But I do want to talk about this poll now. Polls are, of course, polls are polls. Polling was quite inaccurate in a lot of states, but in 2020 it wasn't too inaccurate, especially in the state of New Hampshire. The polls were generally all right in 2020. If we go back to 2016, they were very accurate in the state of New Hampshire, despite being very off elsewhere. You're going to have a bad poll every now and then, like, this WMUR poll, which had Clinton plus 11, and you're going to have a poll like ARG, which had Trump plus 5. But overall, it averaged out to be quite accurate. If we look at the Senate race, it was also quite accurate. This was the Senate race, the last Senate race, which Maggie Hassan was win, which, generally the polls were quite accurate in that race as well. So I think we can generally trust this poll a decent amount. Of course, take polls with a grain of salt, but this is kind of just to give us a little bit of insight into what this race may look like. And I do think that I agree with these numbers, at least on face value. So it shows that Chris Sununu, who is the current governor of the state of New Hampshire, with around a 70% approval rating, according to this very same poll, it has him beating Maggie Hassan 48 to 46%. Of course, you're going to have some people who are undecided, 5% in this case, and it is, of course, within the margin of error. A rematch with Kelly Ayotte. Kelly Ayotte was the former senator that Maggie Hassan beat in 2016. You can see she won by, just over 1,000 votes, 1,017 votes. The independent really could have made the difference in that race, but it was very, very close, even closer than the presidential race in that state. And it does say that in that scenario, rematch, 48% of people would vote for Hassan and 43% of people would vote for Ayotte, while 3% would favor another candidate and 6% were undecided. It says Sununu has increasingly churned speculation in recent weeks that he is seriously considering taking on Hassan next year. Washington-based Republican groups are quietly urging him to do so, but the governor said that he may seek a fourth term in his current job or possibly choose not to run for office and he'd head for the private sector. Now, if you're a Republican and you want Republicans to win back the Senate, you really, really, really should hope that Chris Sununu runs. He is certainly the best candidate for this race, and it does talk about, some other candidates that they polled in a race against Maggie Hassan. Let's see if it has it down here. Yes, of course. Corey Lewandowski. We do go down here. It says Corey Lewandowski is beating Corey Lewandowski is losing, to Maggie Hassan, 53 to 34%, and against Bolduc, who is actually the only person who has announced so far, Donald Bolduc, Hassan is beating him 52 to 39%. So you're going to really want to hope that Chris Sununu runs, and to a lesser extent, Kelly Ayotte. Maybe if Chris Sununu decides not to run, decides to run again for governor, then you certainly would want to run Kelly Ayotte, because other than that, Republicans really don't have a deep bench in the state of New Hampshire. They've got Kelly Ayotte, Chris Sununu, but that's really, maybe you could run a state senator, maybe you could run another figure, but really that is all you've got. Because if you look back at 2020, Republicans did not run a good candidate against Jeanne Shaheen, and they lost by 16 percentage points. Jeanne Shaheen won every single county. That's why candidates matter, especially in a state like New Hampshire, which is very, very swingy. Chris Sununu won by a lot, Biden won by a substantial amount, and it's elected a lot of Republicans and Democrats in the past, and and the state Senate and state House flip this year. So it really can swing between either party, and that's what you should expect in this election as well. Maggie Hassan barely won in 2016. Maybe she wins by a lot. Maybe she loses by a lot. We're really just going to have to see. But Sununu is certainly the best candidate. If you're talking about who, whether he's going to run or not, what my bet is, I think he probably leans to running, but it's very, very close because there have been indications that he would run, but there also have been indications saying that he won't run. He said, is Washington really for me? Is that the kind of job I want to do, being away from New Hampshire? The same kind of rhetoric that you get from a lot of people who are kind of questioning a run for Senate. So we'll see whether Sununu runs for Senate again. I think he's leaning towards running, but of course there's still a very, very large scenario, a very real scenario where he doesn't run. And the key group is independents, and that's the group that Chris Sununu is winning. That's the group that gave Biden the win. That's the group that gave Jane Shaheen the win. That's the group that gave Maggie Hassan the very narrow win in 2016. And that's what it's going to come down to for Chris Sununu. And that's why someone like Corey Lewandowski is not winning, because sure, he can turn out of the Trump base, being someone that is very closely aligned to Trump and his views, but can he get the independent voters that are so crucial and key in the state of New Hampshire? Now, as I pointed out, there's only one person who's actually declared to run, publicly expressed interest, however, Kelly and Chris Sununu. Corey Lewandowski said that he wasn't going to run for Senate, but he also said he may run for governor. But, I think maybe he has a better chance for governor, but if he's losing by 19 percentage points in the Senate poll, he's not going to win the governor poll as well. Cook Political Report puts it at likely D. Sabato's Crystal Ball puts it at lean D. Inside Elections puts it at battleground. I would actually put this race so far at tilt Republican, just because, you're weighing up all of the factors. And now I've got it over here. These are all the states over here. I'm putting New Hampshire at tilt Republican, because if Chris Sununu runs, I think that the race is lean Republican. If Kelly Ayotte runs, I think the race is lean Democrat. But I think that Chris Sununu is more likely to be the nominee than Kelly Ayotte, pushing the scale a little bit towards the Republican Party, giving them a narrow victory in terms of my rating for this race. But, tilt ratings really could go either way. And, of course, we've only had one poll for her versus Don Bolduc, who's the only candidate to announce, and that would not be a pretty picture for the Republican Party. Not much else to say about this race, really. It's very, very important. You want Chris Sununu to run because Chris Sununu won every single county, and he can get a lot of the, rural areas that Republicans have done increasingly well in, but, those are not the largest vote areas. The largest vote area is Hillsborough County, which, if you look at the Senate race in 2016, is a county that was won by Kelly Ayotte by 3 percentage points. But then you go back to 2020, that is a county that Biden won by 7.7 percentage points. That you could say this has more suburban areas, white college-educated voters, the voters that swung towards Biden in this election. We saw that across the country. That's an area that Chris Sununu could do well in. He is a more moderate figure. Sure, he endorsed Trump. Sure, he did support him, but he does have more appeal to the suburbs. I think that's very clear. I think he would certainly win counties like Hillsborough County. I think he would win he would certainly win Rockingham County as well. I don't think he would win Stratford County, but he'd also win Carroll County. He'd win a lot of these counties that Joe Biden won, and you'd probably get a similar map to the 2016 Senate election, but maybe he even flips Sullivan County. Maybe he gets closer in Stratford County, closer in Merrimack County, and does what he has to do to win. But it does make a very big impact on the Senate overall. As I pointed out at the beginning, this could be really one of the most important races. And you get out the races that are most likely going to go one way or the other. Iowa, Ohio, both likely. North Carolina lean, Wisconsin lean. And it comes down to those 3 seats with the Democratic incumbents, the 4th, which is New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, which is the open seat. Sure, you could put Nevada at lean Democrat, Arizona at lean Democrat, maybe Georgia at tilt Democrat, and then it really comes down to that seat, Pennsylvania in this scenario, where it would give it to the Democrats. But say you have a Senate map like this. Republicans, if they want to keep it at 50-50, give Manchin that influence, and he's been quite a moderate figure so far, you win that Senate race, back at 50-50. But if you're Democrats, you can sweep the board here. You can win New Hampshire, you can win North Carolina, or you can win Wisconsin, you can win North Carolina. Then you don't even have to worry about Sinema and Joe Manchin, but I don't think it's likely they're going to win North Carolina. I don't think it's likely they're going to win Wisconsin, but I do think that it's very possible that they can win both Pennsylvania and New Hampshire, and that's the best scenario for them, getting more than that 50-seat majority, kind of taking a lot of the stress off their backs, and that is what I think is their best scenario right now. I don't think it's likely they'll win Wisconsin or North Carolina, but certainly possible. We'll have to keep seeing. I'll do an analysis of those races individually, but this one is the analysis of the New Hampshire Senate race. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.